Hey guys, welcome to the second part of the new Q&A series. And sorry there hasn't been a whole ton of videos lately. But I wanted to start this off by letting you all know that Look, which was the TV show that I have a part in the episode 11, Adam Rifkin's TV show Look, is now out on DVD. And I found it in the store Fry's, but you can get it everywhere. Best Buy, online, Amazon.com. It's pretty much everywhere. And this is definitely one to check out. And I'm in the last episode of the series. I'm actually wearing this hat. And it's a really, really funny part that I have. And I really love getting to do what I did in it. And, the show also has, who's doing really well now, Colton Hayes, who is one of the stars of the Teen Wolf show on MTV, and he's in this show. He did this, I think, like it's a little bit before the Teen Wolf show. But anyway, though, I want to let you know, though, this was out before I got through the questions. But the first question I got is, can you make a really long video showing your entire Blu-rays and DVD collection, everything else that you have, like go through slow so you can see the individual titles? I think I did one, like a whole overview. I've done a couple overviews. I mean, I think sooner or later I'll do a new one. Probably shoot it in full HD or something and just have it be a one-take video. The problem, so then I can just keep the quality exactly the same without changing it. But, the problem is it's difficult to light certain spots. Like, certain spots look really good, and then there's certain, angles or corners where, unless you have lots of lights all over the place, it's hard. That's the only problem with doing that. I'm just trying to see if I didn't go through these. More parents ones, but I just read them. Why do you still live with your parents? Not that I'm saying shouldn't or anything. What are the advantages of living at home versus living life on your own? But the thing is, we all made the decision to move out here together. It wasn't like one, was more for me or more for them. It was just a joint decision. And, I wouldn't be able to live on my own out here. And, and to have the space that I need for the things I have and stuff. And, my family gets along well. And, it's not like I can't do anything. They're not like, don't do this, don't do that. I can do it. I can do what I want. So it's not like, some people have that kind of thing. Like, under my house, you can't do this. Under this house, I don't think they care what I do. I don't do, that kind of stuff, doobies and stuff. Well, I don't, but but even if I did, they wouldn't care. That's the kind of people they are. When can you tell me basically? Let me see. Hey, I noticed on Facebook you and MJ like James the Nintendo Nerd. Have you guys ever met him or worked with him on any film projects? And out of all the collectible toys, movies, posters, do you have anything that is really rare or worth a lot of money? I don't know if I have any really rare toys. One of the toys that I always wanted, and I remember it was such a pain to get it, and I never saw what was underneath of it, was the Dick Tracy toy, the Blank. For some reason, it was always this thing that I remember everyone talking about when I was a kid. The toy and what it looked like underneath the mask, and if there was anything under the mask. But as for the James Nintendo Nerd, I walked right by him at Comic-Con one year and didn't even realize he was there. He was I was walking this way and he was coming this way. So there's a video that I think he was filming or his friend was filming where you see us in the same shot. It was kind of interesting. But yeah, I occasionally watch his stuff. What do you think about the 1990 remake of Night of the Living Dead? I like that remake. I thought it was, for remakes, it was one of the first, when they were, starting to remake stuff. This was way before the remake trend happened. And I don't know, I thought Tom Savini did a pretty good job on it. What is your most favorite horror movie? I've always pretty much said Return of the Living Dead. That's pretty much, I have a strong feeling that because of the documentary and because of the success, that it still continues to have, with people still knowing about it, I have a feeling that there's going to be a remake. And, if they do end up doing that, I really hope they give everybody a cameo from the original, or try and use them in a smart way. So sometimes I don't like when they're like, oh, we try and separate them. See, I think if you want to win over both sets of the fans for these remakes, you try and get people from the original in them. It doesn't have to be a huge part, but there's something cool about that, trying to use those people. And I like when they do that. They don't do it much, but when they do, it's pretty cool. And it makes it just a little bit better. It makes it okay, they're behind it. I don't know. I think that's the only way I would like to see one, is if they did something like that. Why do you call your parents by their first name? No, that's not even their first name. That's just sort of a name I started calling them years ago. First of all, I don't want to say, mommy, daddy on the camera and stuff. I'm not doing that. Second, that's kind of rubbed off. Like in real life now, sometimes I just say that. It's not even their names. It's sort of like a nickname. Because I remember we went on the ET ride years ago, and you could say names. And I've said this story a lot, but you could have ET at the end go, bye-bye, Elliot. And it like says goodbye, whoever your name. You have this little card that they scan, and they say, what's your name? Then they give you a card. So at the end, it's scanned into the system. So when you go through, ET says goodbye to you. And it's interesting, but now it's kind of really kind of worn out. And it used to be like, bye-bye, Sean. Now it's like, bye-bye, Sean. It's like really screwed up now. Can Superman run out the Flash? I don't know. For $100,000, I would be in a Porno with Wet movie. I guess that's the person is saying that they would. So I mean, that's fine. You can do that if you want. Who would win in an MMA cage fight? Herb or MJ? And for $1,000, would you direct a porno starring Wet movie? A lot of people want to talk about directing pornos with Wet movie. I think probably Herb would probably win. I don't know. And for $100,000, I don't see why I would say no. For that kind of money. Which upcoming movies are you most excited for? I think of what's coming up lately that I really want to see. I don't know what some of the major stuff coming up. That movie with, for horror movies I know coming out. I mean, I'm interested in seeing what that Daniel Radcliffe Lady in White thing is. Interested, not super interested, but I'll see that. I don't know too much of what's coming out soon. I want to see the Jonah Hill, The Sitter. His last movie when he was fat. As far as I know. That I'm interested in seeing. I don't know too much. I've been trying to think lately, too, what were some of the favorite movies of the year. But I could probably do that a little easier than what I'm more excited about. How many black shirts do you own? Well, I talked about that before in the last video. I feel like some of these people ask the same questions twice. That's one thing I hate, because then I don't know. Like, I wish people would just ask it one time on here, because I'll get to them. Yeah, because some people say the same exact thing twice, then I say them again, then people say, oh, these are like deja vu. I know. What is your favorite movie of 2011? Oh, someone just asked. Probably Drive. I think Drive is really pretty good. And Hugo, it's not doing very well, because it's not going to make the money back that it costs to make, but I don't know, it was pretty good. What's your favorite place in the world? I don't know where it would say like favorite. Probably like weird destinations and stuff. Like certain places, like I don't know. Like it's easier to say where it'd be like destinations that I loved and stuff, which would be like some theme parks and certain things like this. But like where I am now, I really like where I am now. Maryland kind of just got overdone. I just was there too long. And it's kind of like I couldn't really progress much. So I really wouldn't say that was a favorite place. I mean, there's some places there that I liked, like weird, like that road me and MJ drove down that went on forever. Like that, if any of you saw some of the old Around the Towns, went down this long random road. Like stupid stuff like that I like. Are you going to whisper bye at the end? Probably. What is your best memory of 1988? I'm guessing the Hunt Valley Mall, too. Will you ever be in a shot-on-video horror film? Finally, what type of cameras are used to shoot films? Used on your film shoots. And what actors has given you the most positive influence besides Waters, Candy, and Paul Rubens? Well, 1988 memories? I mean, I don't know, maybe... I don't know. I mean, like, I think... Like, some of the other like weird memories that I have that I always liked was... There was a weird mall that... Like, just something that was torn down. in like 91 and I don't know, just sort of stupid stuff. I can't think back that far. I can remember, surprisingly, a lot of things like that, but I can't pinpoint. I never can pinpoint to years like that. Will you ever be in a shot on video horror film? Well, I mean, technically, if something is shot on DV, it's considered shot on video, I guess. And I made a shot on video horror films called Lust for Blood and Vampire's Lust, and those are going to be out in these collections coming out. And I'll talk more about them. What types of cameras are used on your film shoots? Well, I mean, for the stuff that I personally have done, it's been just like DV cameras, like HD, Sony DV, or just the Vlogs, or just this, the iPhone. And if I have to shoot something for a movie, I just use this because it can do 1080p. And I use this camera a lot too because I like the quality on this thing. At some point, I want to get one of these that's a 1080p of this because I really like this camera. It just dies. The battery's so fast. But for the movies I've done, lately, a lot of the things I've done have been shot on the Red camera. The last couple movies have been the Red camera, which is pretty much the best camera, compared to film, and hardly anything is using film anymore. I mean, there's really big budget things, and people who are real sticklers for film will only ever use film. But a lot of movies are turning to using the Red camera. And then other cameras they've used have been like that VX, I think 2100. That might be what it is. It's a camera that a lot of indie movies were using to shoot before the Red and things like that. What is your favorite Blu-ray picture quality-wise? What Blu-ray has the worst picture? I think best. I don't know what's the best. I know there's some movies that surprised me how good they were, like The Shining, and that's the one thing that I always like with Blu-rays, when you get kind of surprised with how good things can look, like the original Star Trek series. You'd be amazed at how good it looks on Blu-ray. Things like that. That's what I like about Blu-rays, when you really get surprised with how good things can be. The worst are probably some of the Mill Creek ones, where they don't put a whole... Not all of them. I mean, a lot of them are good. Like the Ernest look good, but there's some of them where if they squeeze too many of them onto a disc, the picture is kind of downgraded. It's not as good. So that's pretty much what I'd say for worst. And maybe also if they take a movie that was not shot in HD and then put it onto a Blu-ray, like Dog Soldiers was not a HD movie and that didn't look too good on it. 28 Days Later, things like that really weren't made for Blu-ray won't look that good. I'd like to get your opinion on a few films. Prince of Darkness 2, Pandorum 3. Well, I didn't know there. Oh, it's number 1, Prince of Darkness, 2, Pandorum, 3, K-Pax. I was thinking I was in some other dimension or something when these were made or something. I'm like, what? Prince of Darkness. I remember Alice Cooper was in that. I like that one. I like a lot of John Carpenter's older movies, and that was a pretty good one. Pandorum I thought was surprisingly pretty good. It wasn't something that I watched too much, but I did like it. And K-Pax I haven't seen in years. But as far as I can remember, I liked it. Some of these things I gotta watch again. Or maybe also, if you consider doing fan request reviews, maybe doing a weekly series like reviewing the films of a specific director, at some point, I'm going to do something like that. Do more stuff. It all has to do with time, and, sometimes I'm worrying about the film stuff and, the acting-wise and stuff, so I'm trying to square away dates and get things, all kinds of stuff figured out, or shooting auditions back and forth or things. So sometimes I just get really wrapped up or just sort of in a mindset of that, and it's kind of hard to think about anything else, because that's really what I want to be doing. So I really have to put my attention to that because that's how I can really make money. And, and that's what I really consider my job. My question is personal. My dream is to graduate special effects makeup school and then move to San Diego. LA is too crowded and too much for me. Yeah, I have the same thing about that. I go into LA and, when I have to or for something, but it's not somewhere I would want to like live like right in the heart of all that. I feel like if I was right in that, I'd hardly leave. Would you? What would your suggestions be for relating to money, housing, any tips to get into the makeup business? Would be great. I mean, like for makeup, doing makeup in films, I think, to start out on, some indie films and stuff like that, and, find directors on Facebook, find directors online that you see doing things that are around where you are, and send them, demos of your work and things like that, and they might bring you on. They may not be able to pay you too much at first, but it's good for experience and to build like a resume of your work, so you can take pictures. Because a lot of makeup artists that I've seen take pictures of every work they do, and they have a whole portfolio of all their stuff. And I think that's a really good way to show what you can do. I watch you because you're so fun and positive. I like it when you vlog because we are vloggers. Anyway, how'd you grow your channel? Did you ever get a shout out in the past? You're awesome, Angie and Napoleon. Yeah, as far as I know, I never really don't think anybody ever really promoted this channel or anything. I know some people. I think it was pretty much just doing the DVD updates, and also like in the beginning, it was a little easier on YouTube if you did a video to have it seen more. So I think a lot of people saw stuff then, and I brought a lot more people over for the DVD community. And I don't feel like there's as many people doing DVD updates. I feel like lately a lot more people are starting up. I've noticed a lot of people sending me their updates saying they just started. There was a period of time when I noticed it kind of died a bit, and now it's starting to come back a little bit. But I think I was sort of one of the first people to do. That's a tough thing. Is I think I'm the first person to ever do my DVD collection update. I mean, I may be wrong here, but as I can recall, there was one person who showed his whole collection. Then I did mine. So I really think it was just me starting out doing the DVD collection thing first. When I actually talked about updates. Not my collection, but just the updates. And I think those kind of caught on at the right time. And like I said too, doing those DVD updates, as crazy as it may sound, that is how I've got into, getting into the first films I did because of that. So I owe pretty much everything in my life, as crazy as this may sound, to DVDs. And I know that's nuts, but if I didn't do those DVD updates, I feel like right now, I don't even know what I would be doing. I feel like things would have gone so different, and I wouldn't have been. I feel like I would have been just sort of still screwing around and not really getting anything done. So, I owe a whole lot to YouTube. I really do. That's why I try to continue to do stuff as much as I can. And that's why I haven't ever stopped. Hey, Sean, do you own any game counselors? If so, what games are your favorite? What is your favorite alcoholic drink? Can you recommend 3 excellent horror films that many people have not have seen or heard of? Well, like Bad Ronald, I talk about a lot. Like, if you haven't seen Bad Ronald, the one about the kid who accidentally kills this girl, and the mom hides him in the wall in the house, and that's a really cool movie. Like a weird one that I liked that's not on DVD. I think you can only get you might be able to find a bootleg, a Savage Beast. I'm just naming really obscure ones that I don't think anyone even talks about much. And Crawl Space, not the Klaus Kinski one, but the one with the guy living in the crawl space in the house, this old couple. They couldn't have children, and they kind of take him in, and he's this homeless guy who helped work on the house, and he lives in the house, in the crawl space, and they read to him. It's really crazy. But those are like 3 kind of obscure horror movies that people don't talk about much. But I don't really play any video games. I have PS3, but really only use that for, Blu-rays. And luckily it can do, it updates. So you can update it. I don't have it hooked to the internet, but I can download it, so I can always continuously update the thing without problems. Favorite alcoholic drink? Don't drink too much. I had recently plum wine, and I kind of like that. Although the one thing with that you have to be careful with is you don't taste any alcohol in that, so you have to be careful you don't drink too much of it. Because I think I accidentally drank too much of it and felt really sick. So like things like that, when you can't taste the alcohol, like those wine coolers and stuff, you got to be careful with those, because when you don't notice it, Like, because, if you're drinking Jack Daniels or something like that, it's like, and it's like, okay, I can't have much of this. Let me see what anything else here. I literally never watch movies. I don't even know what genre I like. I know I don't like scary movies because I'm a stupid little scared nerd. What movies would you recommend for me to watch? I mean, I wouldn't pass off. Like, some people say they never want to watch horror movies and stuff. I do get a vibe too that a lot of people consider horror movies next to porn. And I've talked to a lot of people like this. It's like right above porno. And, I don't know. But I would suggest, trying to find some of the not too scary horror movies. And look through some of the older videos I did, like my favorite comedies and things like that. Because offhand, I can't, say for sure. What made you create the Bugman movie? I did that years ago. I think it was, that was like in 2005. And I think I just saw the trailer for Crispin Glover's What Is It? And that was before I knew it was going to be like, hard to see and only shown at those weird screening events and stuff like that. But I made my own kind of like thing based on that. Do you ever play Legend of Zelda? I know I played like the one that was like the really popular one on Super Nintendo, and would always get stuck in certain parts, and then would get so angry. And the worst was when I got stuck as a kid, and then I think I broke the game or threw it off the balcony, something crazy with it. I was so pissed. And then the next day, I was reading and then figured out how to do it through a book or something. I'm like, oh jeez. Does MJ have siblings? No, it's just him. What's good, homie? Hey, seems like most classic movies have been coming out on Blu-ray, but E.T. hasn't. You know why? And what do you think about the Last Friday movie coming out next year? It's the sequel to Friday, next Friday after, and Friday after the next. Why? As long as everybody comes back and stuff, I definitely would like to see that. E.T. I have a feeling they may be holding off for a certain anniversary or something. And I think as far as I know, Steven Spielberg has said that he doesn't want to do that changing things to movies anymore. So hopefully the Blu-ray is the original version, not the one where they took the guns out and changed all these things. It was really weird. It's kind of weird to do that to a movie. And I know, George Lucas does that all the time with Star Wars, and it's his movie and he can change it. I think, it's fine that he wants to do that. But you should put the original version out too, because the bottom line is, with these kind of movies that's the movie he made then. That's the movie that became a classic. So you might as well just put that original version out, leave it alone. You can mess with your own versions. And people can sit and watch them and be a little upset. Go, why is this changed? You know what I mean? But just put the original one out too. Especially with Blu-rays and stuff, you can squeeze them on the disc. Would you shave your head for a movie? Yeah, someone was asking me about that recently. I don't know. I really, it's a tough thing. I feel like I would only do that. That's just a tough one. What do you think is the best sequel made in the 90s? I thought the Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey was a good sequel. A lot of people, not a lot, but I've heard people go, I didn't like that. I liked it. Other good ones, I think Back to the Future 2, I think came out in 90. Or that was 3, and that was a good sequel. I mean, that's technically all one movie. I'm trying to think of other good sequels. People didn't like it. I like Problem Child 2. These aren't amazing sequels, but they're just sequels I like that came out in the 90s. There are a lot of sequels, that never were made that I would like to have seen in the 90s, like, Biodome 2 and crazy stuff like that. Do you like The Muppets Christmas Carol? I haven't seen that in a long time. As far as I remember, I did. The new Muppets movie was pretty good. What's the most boring horror movie you ever saw? Won't even want to resell it or throw it away into the trash. I wouldn't even want to resell it or throw it away. It's not exactly I could say for sure what's the most boring, but some of the ones where they're too long, where it's a really movie that just drags out too long, things like that, they kind of get to me, too long, or when they're just put together so poorly. That's one thing that when the sound is horrible, or there's all these glitches in the editing, and then that's the version that's put out. Things like that or what kind of ruin it for me more than boring. Because some movies, you know, that are really slow, like slow burn horror movies and things like that, they work. It just really depends. That's a real tough thing. But I just can't say for sure what the most boring one is. What'd you think of V for Vendetta? As I remember, I liked it. I haven't watched it, as I said, another one in a while. I guess since it's 25, that's all for this update. I mean, part 2. Anyway, though, I'll see you guys later for part 3 soon.